Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining another episode of the Educational Leadership Podcast. We have another very special guest. Before we introduce our guest, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Ideal Impact. Ideal Impact's giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to public education in the form of a free gift. So if your district needs unrestricted funds for higher teacher salaries or whatever your district needs, reach out to Ideal Impact. Okay, today our guest, we have Superintendent Russell from S&S Consolidated ISD. Superintendent Russell, thanks for joining today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, always exciting to meet new superintendents, new to us anyways, and hear the different perspectives. But just so our audience gets to know you a little bit, could you share a little bit about your background?
Sure, absolutely. Like most educators, I started out teaching and coaching actually in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. I coached and taught in Irving, where I grew up, and started out there in my career, and then moved over to Mansfield ISD for a number of years. Coached and taught there as well, and worked on my administrative, certification and all those good things during that time. Um, you know, did a little bit of that. Of course, I was in Mansfield, was growing, and that was a good experience. I will say both campuses where I started and where I ended up in Mansfield were both brand new schools. So I had a great opportunity to open two new campuses or be a part of those teams when I got into education. And that was huge to have that experience and just kind of get the ball rolling with a new team, a new campus, the whole thing. So that was a great experience for me. Leaving Mansfield, I had the opportunity to get into administration. I became the assistant principal at Canton Junior High out in East Texas, and was in Canton for about 5 years. Following Canton, I ended up actually stepped out of education for a short time. An opportunity came along, did that, got back in education at Wills Point ISD, where I spent 8 years in administration in various roles. I was an assistant principal at their middle school, which is a 5th and 6th grade campus, which was very new to me. I had not been around 5th graders, so that was an experience in and of itself, but I learned a lot there. And within a year, became the principal of that campus, and then had an opportunity in that same district to move to high school principal, which was something I'd always wanted to do. And it was just something that kind of the doors just opened along the way. And had a great superintendent that was, great mentor, still a mentor. I still reach out to him, spoke to him yesterday. And so I was a high school principal for a little while there, and then had the opportunity sooner than I expected to move to central office to become the assistant superintendent of operations and student services for Wills Point. Spent 4 years in that position and learned a tremendous amount about the operations of the district. I mean, I was able to be involved in construction projects, of course, but also just future planning and things for a district that kind of happened while I was there, and looking at growth and all the things that come with that, and just learned a tremendous amount. And then after 8 years there, I just felt like it was a time to start taking that next step to be a superintendent. And so began looking and checking out opportunities that were out there, and S&S called and gave me an interview, and it's great district, great community, and this is where I've been the last going on 2 years. I'm a first-time superintendent here, in my career, and it's a great place to learn, but it's a great opportunity, I feel like, just to get to learn quite a bit, and to just be a part of the good things going on in a district and take a leadership role in that. So that's kind of the background there on my career path. So
Awesome. And thank you for sharing that. Just so our listeners understand a little bit. So kind of where is S&S Consolidated ISD located, and give the rough number of students, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely. I can give you an exact number of students. Actually, as of today, we're about 955 students. And we're up from last year a little bit. So that's always good. And but we are located between Sherman and Whitesboro, almost pretty much Lake Texoma up this way on the north side of the state. And we're a 3A district, and just kind of sandwiched between Whitesboro, that's growing, and Sherman, which we know is very much growing. And we do have the largest school district boundary in Grayson County, though, with 132 square miles, I believe it is, or 137 square miles. And that's a challenge. You know, we're small as a district, but our district lines are very large. And we, of course, see growth happening around us and things. But yeah, that's where we're located.
Very cool. Very cool. And it's always helpful because our listeners, they come from different size districts. So, some of the information shared applies more to different sizes and locations and all that. Because some are more rare, rural versus, more metro in the more metro areas. So right now, there's a lot going on in public ed, right? There's always is. It seems like, but we started this podcast a couple years ago, and there's always something going on, always some kind of hot topic. Just funding's always a big one. Curious, what's on your radar these days as far as public ed?
You know, and you kind of touched on it there. I think funding is the big one, especially with the legislative session starting today and getting that ball rolling. And I guess for our biggest thing is we want to first take care of our students and have the funding needed to take care of our kids, and have the programs that they need to have. And there's a lot that comes with that. I feel like that CTE programs are a big push right now, as they should be. Those are important, and we need to be developing those skills with our students. The challenge we have as a rural district is, facilities, and can we afford to hire more staff to teach those types of classes? And so funding ties into every bit of that, and of course, then you want to take care of your staff. I mean, that's, so again, I go back to funding and, our last session and all the special sessions that followed the regular session. We really were kind of thinking, hey, we're going to get a little support here. We're going to get the things we need to really boost our staff, boost our kids, our programs in our schools, and get our students what they need. It didn't happen the way we would have liked it, of course. I met with our legislator that represents our area and talked to her before she headed to Austin. And it was a good conversation. And as we know, vouchers are a real thing. And they're probably, I mean, at this point, I don't want to say they're going to have, but there's a good chance they're going to pass. And we can't worry about that. We've got to focus on getting the funding needed for public ed and the support needed for public ed. I think we've got to just really zero in on that and make that our goal, and just do the best we can with what we're able to get, and handle it that way. But I think that is your hot topic. If I had to pick one, that's one.
Mhm.
I think Texas as a whole is seeing a lot of growth, enrollments and going up. We're seeing that in our area. We're kind of being surrounded slowly. It's kind of creeping in around us right now. So you're dealing with more kids coming, and you're needing the funding to support those kids. So I think the two kind of go hand in hand.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a issue from across the state as far as the funding goes. Uh, um, and it seems like a lot of districts are being creative around that. Have y'all come up with some creative solution? I don't know. It's not every district's different. So some have some special way to get funding. I'm just kind of curious. Have y'all come up with ran across anything or?
We really haven't. We're looking at the one thing we are looking at, and this kind of is more on the CTE side. We are looking at expanding some CTE programs, or adding some if we can, with the facilities we have. And I know that that'll generate some more revenue on that side of what we need. For us, it is, being a small district, it's like, you're going to wear many hats. So we try to get, you don't want to burn people out, but you also are like, hey, if we can all kind of take on a couple of different things, that helps spread that money a little further too, instead of
Right.
hiring multiple people. And we kind of do it that way. But it's a challenge. As far as generating that revenue, we haven't come up with a real good creative system yet here. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting. Especially some districts they if they have a teacher shortage, like they have certain like initiatives, and it's always different. So um as far as the district goes, what's on the horizon? Like, if somebody wants to, is thinking about moving, what would make them want to come out to your community and go to your district?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and one of the things you mentioned initiatives, this kind of ties into what you just asked. We did go to a 4-day instructional week last year, or we adopted it. This is our first year to do it. I was not a 4-day week guy coming in. I was like, no, this is the way, this that should be. At the same time, we had to get creative in a different way as far as recruiting teachers and retaining really good teachers. And so we can't afford to pay what Sherman pays or Solana or Prosper. Some of your big districts can pay, or growing districts pay. So we had to get creative. And the way to do that was a 4-day instructional week, which ties into your question. We've had some families move into our district, and there has been some draw there, actually, not just staff, but even students and families have found that as a positive. And that's just one little thing. I say little, it was a big deal to get it set up, but now it's in motion, and I feel like it's been a great adjustment. As far as if someone's looking at SNS, I can tell you we don't have shopping or restaurants or this. It's nearby. It's in Sherman and it's other places, but for us, the school is our community. Like, it is the hub of what goes on in SNS. And so our school system, our youth sports organization is a big deal, but those kind of work together as much as they can. So it really comes back to that school as the centralized community focus. And it's kind of special. I mean, it really is. And I've said, this is one of the best kept secrets, that I've come across in a while is districts like this in SNS. I feel like you still have small class sizes. Teachers can still provide that one-on-one support needed for kids. Your campus principals and administrators are accessible if parents want to meet, talk, voice concerns, or just come together and partner in educating kids. I feel like that is a very strong element here. You definitely have the small town feel. I mean, you have that just great community support of our schools and our kids, I can truly say that doesn't let up. That's all the time. And it's, if we need something, we can figure out a way to get it done or get what we need. If there's something that's needed in a program for our school or whatever the case may be, I feel like our community is a strong, strong supporter of what we have going on here. And they want it to continue to excel. They want us to continue to grow and just get better and better at everything we do. And we're working to do that. We really are. And it's just a really great place to be. And we put out a little promotional video on our website last year. Region 10 helped us put that together, and we hope that's been something that parents can get onto and see that and learn a little bit. We hear from parents, we hear from staff members, we hear from administrators, and we're a consolidated district, and that's a little bit of an interesting dynamic too. We have South Maid and Sadler, which make up the SNS, and that's a unique situation too. But it also is pretty exciting because our elementary school is down in South Maid, our middle school and high school are up here in Sadler, and yet we still come together. And it's that saying, we have 3 schools, 2 towns, 1 family, and that's legitimately that's really how we operate. It's a great place.
Yeah, and thank you. Oh, got an echo in the background there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it seems like every district is so unique in Texas, like every single one. And for people that try to put public education in a box and, hey, this is all public, no, every district's different, every community's different, every leader's different. And so I think that's so valuable, you sharing that, because I think every community member is looking for something different, right? And they, when people are looking to move to a new area, whether that be from out of the state or in the state, um, maybe moving from some of the larger metro areas to have those smaller class sizes and have more of that community feel. So definitely appreciate you sharing that. And I know we're running short on time. I'd love to hear just kind of this last question. Who's been an inspiration in your life or a mentor in your life that you think would be worth coming on the podcast, maybe even have an interview?
Yeah, if you can get him on. Yeah, no, it'd be Dr. Scott Kalos. He is the superintendent at Medina Valley ISD, and he's the one in Wills Point that kind of really allowed me to kind of be a part of things that, the big decisions and opportunities to grow and to learn and to pick up, different strategies and tools along the way. And, I, like I said, I still stay in touch with him, bounce ideas off of him. What would you do if, I'd throw all kinds of scenarios. And so I definitely would say he's been an impact in my life and has helped me grow as a leader in general, whether that be the role I'm in or even when I was a high school principal. He was definitely that example and of just solid, steady good decision making leadership. So I definitely have brought a lot of that with me to SNS coming here.
Fantastic. Yes, we'll reach out and we'll try to have him on
Yeah.
and hear his story. And it's so valuable hearing the influence that other leaders, because it seems like a lot of the superintendents, they do lean on each other and they learn from others. And so thank you so much for sharing that. And just any last thoughts or words before we close out?
I'll just say that SNS, and this is not a big plug to, hey, come to our district, but we'd love to have you. But it's one of those things. We are growing. It's beginning to grow. We're beginning to see that growth here, and that's exciting. So we have a lot of great things happening, and I just think that, and I think like you said earlier, I think public school. There's no way to put it in a box. I think every district is their own unique animal, so to speak, and I'll tell you, I think it's just something that's always, I've got a passion for it. It's worth fighting for. It's worth standing up for and supporting. And I'll always feel that way. And I just think that there's a lot of great superintendents across the state. And we all, like you said, we all kind of lean on each other. We all have those same conversations and the challenges we face and what's coming from different areas, but we all have the right idea in mind and doing what's best for kids and staff and all that. So yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. It's challenging, but it is exciting. So
Very exciting. Lots of great things to going on in public education, a lot to celebrate. Thank you so much, Superintendent Russell. And now we're going to close out. But before we do close out, we do want to give one final shout out to our sponsor, Ideal Impact. Ideal Impact's giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to public education. If your district needs funding, reach out to Ideal Impact. And for those that have been tuning in, stay tuned for future episodes of the Educational Leadership Podcast.